All right, so look at all you wonderful people. All right, so I know I'm really excited about the lineup. So how we're doing is everybody had rules 2 minutes because we now, unfortunately, there are a few people who are not able to be here tonight. Charles Alexander is in Vermont. Dexter Booth, who was coming out from Phoenix, is not able to be here tonight. He wrote to me and said he had 100 papers to do by tomorrow. So that place. And Amra Donaldson is ill tonight, so she's not here. But everybody else is. So we have a total of 30 readers tonight. So how we're doing this, the readers should have a printout of your order. Everybody has 2 minutes, okay? This is like a poetry marathon. And Allie and Tentacles, after everyone's done, are going to be playing.
Yeah.
They are also going to be providing a musical gong at the 2 minute mark. They'll start out very gently as a signal. Better watch out, okay? So if you have your list, you might want to stage yourself over here because it's your 2 minute start when you come up here. We're not going to do introductions. I am going to call out everybody's name and their affiliation if they have it, and that's about it. So come on up and do your 2 minutes, and we're not going to take a break. If you feel like getting up and getting food or drink, please do that. And I think it would be a really fun meeting. So, all right, Roberto Bedoya.
Okay, I caught myself. I'm a little over 2 minutes. So I'm taking some other person's time. And, okay, how many of you know what the word cholo means? Yeah. Okay, those that don't, ask your neighbor. This is called the Ballad of Cholo Dandy. With the listening grace to form itself across the street, across the floor, the sleeves move between being stuck up and waking up. A slow nod of the chin, a handful of well-coordinated colors trigger the ebb of thoughts, but everyone is an impressive composition of colors and style with a delightful thought-out accessory as end periods to the statements. An encyclopedia of well-researched information workshopped and shared, end quote. A fleet, a dark book with ghost and autobiography, thinking about fabric and clothes in terms of landscape of late. A dune of roads, a nest in sweaters, a storm of leather jackets, cotton, wool, neoprene, plants, animals, insects in crude oil, parka, wetsuit, spacesuits, baby pants, tattoos, scars, embellishments, and community standing, nonverbal communication, the poetry of ball gowns, the high cool cocktail dresses, abstinence, sex, fear, enticement, baby blankets, death shrouds, moccasins, hirachis, wingtips, man is not naked, end quote. In the eyes, entering notice, the frame of holding desire. Hiding in look, the sublime and sublicit glint of a white tank top under the pressed white tee, as stolen as fine. Divining the outside with fantasy, in wind, allure, and tattooed tears. The taxonomy of no mas stares, a slow nod of the chin up, wizardry, stretched, wizardry, structured into the seams, inside simple dickies, inside 12-foot plackets that combat trifle, be it borders, boredom, or ready-wear, inside the secret share of colors. Lace thought and...
I'm so sorry. Yay! Yay!
That's not fair.
That's beautiful. That's so good.
Casa Libre and Viva.
Sure. Yes. 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 Hannah, I won't judge you if you vote.
manuscript called The Whole. Better? Yes. This is from a longer manuscript called The Whole Family, which is an interconnected series of fiction pieces because my fiction is shorter than my poetry. Sprite. Sprite is not a little girl anymore. She is 10 and was saved 2 weeks ago in her best friend's church. The Holy Spirit came to her, a visitor in the congregation, before he ever entered her best friend. She was sitting in a pew while her best friend's family stood waving their arms and crying. She felt a bright white force reach down and pull her up to stand on the pew. She sobbed and waved her arms, and the Holy Spirit spoke through her. Alabama, Alabama, Wallacama, Alabama, Prima Lala. And then she passed out. When Sprite woke, the preacher stood over her with her best friend. Young lady, do you accept Jesus Christ, the Son of our one true God, into your heart as your personal Savior? She thought, I'm a young lady. She tried hard to remember if she ever met Jesus. Yes, she squeaked. Thank you, Jesus. Praise the Lord. We know you, Father, and thank you, the preacher cried. Her best friend's family petted Sprite's head and took her out for crab cakes and shrimp cocktail after church. But her best friend wouldn't talk to her. She said, I can't be your best friend anymore. All week at school, her former best friend hung out with the other girls who all snickered behind their hands when Sprite walked by. But that Sunday at church, the Holy Spirit spoke through her former best friend. Alabala, Alabala, Wallacama, Prima Lala. And thank you, Jesus. They could be best friends again. Sprite told Blanket all about her experience at church, about the Holy Spirit, about her new friend Jesus, about the dramatic circumstances that had almost ended her friendship, and about how she was now a young lady. Blanket told Sprite that she couldn't go to church anymore, and when the Holy Spirit tried to speak through Sprite again, Blanket skipped to the against part of the bottom, so Blanket flashed him out and Sprite with a cold glass of water in the face. Ow.
Meier.
The title is How Much Money This Poem is Valued At. This poem with lines from Joseph Campbell's Hero with 1,000 Faces has been determined to have a value no less than $60. My prostate has been fashionable for a man's dick's target. How he slams it in it. Like a payday bar in my mouth melting. My professional me melts all his gold. You shoot off into a brotherly money. My eyes are grazing every thigh I see. 1 minute, 1 thigh, 2,000 pounds of snow to polish everyone with. How to leave everything open even with everyone looking in? I brought the event back to me like a slug. Come here, money. I'd like some more of you. I canned myself a few green beans. I could flatten myself against a gown, a euphemism. Like a shrub or underneath one, I could flatten myself. A spectacle, when talked about, can only grow. I will guarantee it. The check didn't bounce, but that wasn't my question. I need a better, more expensive pair of shoes. I need a rainbow, a tight circle of a sleeping rattlesnake. I want love and I want $1 for the AA meeting, and I've never been able to pick myself out of dependence. And so it must be known that no matter how often the ogre breaks us, the problem of the hero is going to meet the father. I'm 2 halves of a split pea, of the poem that made us first so broke, then paid us. Thanks.
Briante, you may.
Yeah. This is not counting in terms of my time. I'm terrified of him. I will use this time to mention, I'm going to read a very short poem that requires audience participation. Yeah, okay, so it is an economic meditation that includes 3 mantras that will be repeated 3 times, and we'll practice. The first mantra that I'm going to have you repeat 3 times is, I am the avant-garde. I am the avant-garde. I am the avant-garde. avant-garde, I am the avant-garde. You guys are natural. The second one is DIY. DIY, DIY, DIY. And the third one is I default. I default. I default. I default. You guys are great. Okay, so meditation. Oh, and you'll know when the mantras come because I'll start saying them and I'll raise my hand. Okay, meditation. In the party store, Pier 1, Target Kohl's parking lot, find a desert willow among the shopping carts. Walk around it sunwise, repeating, I am the avant-garde, I am the avant-garde, I am the avant-garde. Repeating, DIY, DIY, DIY. Imagine a chart of median family incomes as big as the parking lot. Use it to determine where to abandon your car. I default. I default. I default. Your mind is a blood blister rising on your thumb, a ladybug. Among these shopping carts, you fortress. Among the plastic bags, you affirm. Lo, the light from the desert trees does not speak in numbers, costs us nothing. Here, as in a butterfly garden, everyone crawls before flight. Thank you.
Tere. Thank you. Very well. Tere, Fowler-Chapman, Words on the Element.
I have something new tonight. The title is undecided. So, can you hear me back there? Yeah? Okay. No?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We are standing on 9th Street and 4th Avenue. I am looking at hair, the color of a golden fool in the eyes, as beautiful as a perfect day, and he asked me, Tere, why do you always wear those long sleeves and ties on the hottest summer nights? The underpass. The underpass is crying, speeding cars, and a violinist who can't sleep, and a homeless man that's begging that he too deserves tomorrow, so I give him some change. I know the change that I give him is not what he's looking for. See, me and him, we're fighting the same fight. Because when I stand next to my lover and they ask me what part of Africa I call home, I want to remind them about African Americans and our continent. How it rests on the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. Fleshless slaves with decayed weights still hugging their ankles. Lifeless bodies still dancing through the currents of the sea, and they're telling me, Tere, you're afraid of your own country. And it's true. I'm afraid of the things that the ocean has seen. See, while I'm reading this poem, Marcus Jones is trying to get Belle, an honor student that was speeding too fast down Speedway Boulevard. Marissa Alexander is praying in a 2-decade sentence for shooting a gun in the air to warn her aggressor. And when that gun, this poem is coming soon, later.
Farid Matuk from the U of A.
This is from a manuscript where all the poems are about were addressed to my daughter. And this one is called New Romantics. Out the windshield, quinoa, amber, light fronds wave up the hill and back. Up dancers raise stockinged knees to the left. Describe the world. New romantics sing precise of them women inside me. Our grown heads against the glass, St. Sebastian displayed to the moon petrifies. Go loping, snout free, fuzz out the night, the Pacific. Go louder, every tree a channel to talk in, eucalyptus peel, line the road, eucalyptus, oil, unblushing wildfire. And salt blows back. An orange is feeding my daughter, she reached up, you said, peppermint tea fog against your ribs, against the door hung, so possible. Long feet walking a new constellation down the city. Run to catch up. Fog, turn away the night. Night, turn away the moon. Moon, turn away so we can see it.
Evacuated beyond it, to the boat waiting on water. Routes sail silent below cities. The traveling brush is wider than woods. What falls from trees cannot be seen on the brain. Cornfields buckle, a series of nerves, flat under stars. Palisades guarding their glittering windows. Palisades at the ends of fields, a genesis of birds. I arrive at midnight, but my carriage is not with me. Lightning has pruned the bushes into stumps above time. I stand in the air with a unicorn foot. The chickens are elegant, Mother says. I live here now with the house growing old and everything after the same. Mother has the following fears for me. My ankles are too delicate for dancing. I could accidentally fuck someone. I will replace the kaleidoscope and turn myself instead. She already knows I will use an anchor even during evaporative times. Further fears that I'll explain the crater that refuses explanation and the time for plumes is over and backstitching will not remedy this mistake. When wind relapses, causes a dent which realizes the light. Mother wants to know, what can the sea bring or remove with its tributaries lost? Were I a Mormon, I'll call her. I show her my eyes only slightly, still careening from my way in the foam I found beside it. Here I am.
So the funny one was too long, so here we are. This one's online in the Bolton. It's from a longer book in progress. I'm not certain. Through this tear, the world comes pouring in. Lumpy mountains blurred at the gauzed horizon, washed clouds riding them lightly. The Chihuahua wheezing and running his way through dreams. Turquoise t-shirt full of BB holes and sagged like a potato sag, not BBs. When day erupted over the valley and chunked some desert foliage into place for one more workday, palo verdes, mesquites, sand, and ersatz driftwood fuzzed up creosote. The sun went whack, whack, whack on the palm fronds, but the drizzled brown droop ones under the spiny green ones erupted bird calls, then birds who caromed off plate glass air, then sheared off to dive bomb mesquites, then settle in again. Old Ez folded his blankets, yeah. The artist formerly known as Tenney now, went forth to walk his dogs, but encountered the autumnal summer air of last month's koan, followed the fragrant grasses out and the falling flowers back. Well, Norman keeps saying we think we're alive now and we'll be dead later, but that's baloney. Not unhinged by grasses played by sun-bleached sticks and scrubbed sand, wash, or the falling flowers appearing as paloverdes. Blooms vanish, where did they go? Down the cone's throat, but the pin's still very much perked up, thank you. And autumn is the summer sun still whacking your face. Dead man. Mountains up ahead look huge, unmoving, self-assured, and happy as clams in wet sand, but rhyme with the Alps now. Simplon Pass seems softer in summer, and no more Augusta Wordsworthian than this. But back behind these now, the scratched cold hieroglyphs of Gondo Lord fast waiting, lurking, holding the spirit of ice. It spreads out like sound in dreams, untunneled and in flat thin sheets like slow down wind, constant silence, dreading time. Thank you.
Meier from the Poetry Center.
This is called A Letter I've Been Meaning to Write. Dear neon sign face, what I love is that there is always a cheap but passable restaurant circulating around you with 2 eucalyptus trees in the entryway wearing the uniform of eucalyptus trees. There are 2 ways to think about anything. Dear air raid siren, dear Magellan lover, there were no fast planes in the sky, only birds, so we were safe. Dear 2 plums up in a tree, dear direction the field takes underneath the levitating bugs, dear salt on a cow's tongue, dear air just above the skillet, watermelon in the garden like we are growing planets, a fullness in the head, dear lonesome in the voice, dear floorboard face, a chicken made entirely of a man's voice, an hour that is an anthem, dear unyielding beauty of plot, dear ecstasy chatter, away is its own country, dear globe I would like to spin, dear always witness. Try to fit the horizon in the tip of this pen, try to fit the quiet, what the quiet makes circumspect. Dear never neutral, dear glacier dropping off an Adirondack. Here is a beautiful carpet, here is the cruelty of sense. Afternoon light like the nicest hat. I don't believe in grass, the long way it confesses itself. Dear bird named edge of town, dear moon like a giant cavity in the sky. A woman with a bag shaped like the bottom of a boat on her arm, like she's always waist deep in the sea. Dear past tense acting heroically. Everyone put on your slow moving vehicle signs, okay? Dear seasons acting like a fox inside the barn all night. When we click on the about button for spring, we are both on the masthead.
This is kind of like speed dating. I wish I were ancient. It is there at the root, the tongue done, a thing folded neatly, rump simple, flint neat, like a thieving, heart pitched through a picture window, shards of glass slipping throats, slip a body, a car, a plane, a lie cleaves, leaving strung loose to catch low notes, sky the color of leaving, the lie out of orbit, unseats. She was made to unseat. Say you throw the act out for the fragrant idea of would-be percolated sex, of factless wanting for erased hands, the torpid fuckery for the space between give and lack, for the surrealist two-car garages or 29th floor walk-ups or Cubist DNA, for the bottom part of years sucked on quiet, soporific mouth, for the body turned over, mummy, soldier, infant. Say you missed the reticulated liar, chiefed out on some concrete historical dreaming, you could do worse.
POG and Friends.
It's more very, very short pieces. You know what I mean? I tended to be because of the objects attached. Consider then what is accidental. Little one that you accidentally slide out the door to take this road. I have a window that desires to intervene in the event of rain. The same as the thing itself in these eyes, what does not change fuses with the source of water. Encircle the scene, and the image is then bordered by its loss. The path from the sea in the guise of the Salmoni gate. The only illumination is what the illumination will self-promote. To induce the space, a character is projected. Characters in thin margin, for example. Dragon tails and double letters as they first appear in the spring.
Dead children, unhusked praying, held in its cloudy room, shadowy as a bell. The soft hills, the soft river, the soft sun softly returning. The one, no pollen stars pop the glasses darkening ice. A row of pillars melting as the spiked cypress all seasons. No stroll demographic of signs, no retort at a marital resort, no Dubai Chrome extradition at the blood's time. Damascus has a pod of daisies for transport. Dire, the king picked them tonight. A glow lines the door, the stone writ held up to light. Its breaking forehead, burst fields, earth, or lost fire now in the wind. See under the sun at its zenith is this morning's Facebook daguerreotype of Normandy, long before the Great War behind the mystery of opened eyelids. No void collapsed behind the ribs multiplies quicker. The shimmer of sepia equals more than the surface of the sun. Deeds blind, the dead children bathe in a pupil of light. Coated in sand, the tethered team of unicorns, hooves saddled mustard of the strands glow tear. Seagulls dive, conchs big as children's fists litter a crib of shelled stars, and have a voice as if the universe stood in a room, waiting. We should make it so their birds can't fly. Grim at the throat Damascus is a cesspool afloat. Innocents see the face of God, old, wild goldenrod, to lie down under the hill near a plane tree. The fatal trumpet of the fountain calls me to my love. From above, weary deserters turn green and vomit playas. A roost for the butcher, sheaf of stone lilies wrapped in the news. I crater the runways, the 6 airfields that Bashar Assad uses. John McCain.
Ed's reading series sponsored by Casa Libre.
Thanks for coming. This one block poem is called Suffering. This isn't the answer. The answer is my hand on the table saying what we thought privacy was. On your forehead, cupping the temple where the fine hairs begin. What origin begins with hair, the tenderest movement out, ends with bodies lining graves, an inability to pronounce the phenomes of your now foreign language. The language itself, an answer. The woman isn't answering the phone. The woman isn't answering anyone. The woman isn't. The woman is chemically altering from the moment she is ignited. The woman is a girl. My palm across your temple, your eyes which follow me as I remove it. Tied to a tree isn't the answer. Tied to the back of a truck isn't the answer. As it moves over miles isn't the cold hospital room. Isn't you're not my daughter anymore and you'll never be my son. This answer is evolving. This poem isn't. Recall to me the names inscribed on sheets. Almost, almost. Your palm as it cups my temple, covering the left eye, the language itself. This isn't a wave as it takes a whole island, then buries the island beneath the island. Thank you.
Burk. all of you. Go. And to be human is to be a conversation. Andrea Rexilius denies us all the details of her childhood. She said, we won't believe her. She said, we'll make metaphors of all the wrong things. He's sitting at a pond in Colorado. At sea level, every bit of the atmosphere is above us. The wind is blowing. There is air on everything. He's breathing. At sea level, the atmosphere weighs 14.7 pounds per square inch. There was nothing about his need for her that was secret. They would play the baby game, and he would hit her. They were in love. His hands would find her hands and then her throat. Displacement can be defined as the shortest path between the final point and initial point of a body. S killed himself by breathing in nitrogen. One can see the wind on the water before one can feel it. It creates a shimmer. Everything was neater than it should have been, as though light lives best at the bottom. Then it gets pulled up. It's only the effects that we notice, the plainness of his whole body intact. Breathing is an activity automatically regulated by the nervous system. Between 17,000 and 20,000 times a day, the intercostal muscles elevate the ribs. The diaphragm contracts, enlarging the thoracic cavity enough to create a suction that draws air into the lungs. He's sitting at a pond. He's breathing. Only a week ago, it was consistently colder. He imagines rocks are still dependable, so he throws them at each other. Now there is wind on the pond. He remembers a time when he went running on a sidewalk. The sidewalk cut through a shopping district, past a school, turned up the hill by some apartments or condos. He could never tell the difference, and then the sidewalk ended at a park. The next day, he would sit on her bed and check email. After they had fucked all morning, what was gentle at first became hard and very reckless. All right, we're halfway through. You guys are amazing. Of the Tucson poetry and writing community that aren't on this year, we're going to do it again next year. There are just too many of you to include on all, so we love you all. Everybody's doing great. Sarah Cordwainer is on.
You know that thing where a complete stranger comes up to you on the street and tells you to smile? That's never actually happened to me. I guess I smile enough. But there is the man who says, don't work out too much. Your arms won't look right. There's the TSA agent. Stand real still, he says, so I can get a good look at you. There's the boss who slides into my lap at the office party drunk. He's not that drunk. We live in Japan and there's nothing I can say. In the interview, they asked what I would do in a case of sexual harassment. I asked what I could do. You should do nothing, is what they told me. In Japan, the concept, not harassment, but the objection to harassment, is sufficiently foreign that they borrowed the word from English. They call it seikohara. And junior high girls yell, seikohara, seikohara, and run away giggling. There's a man masturbating next to me on a long-distance bus. His skin smell intensifies with heat. His smell is full of dust. I have to breathe his smell to scream. There's the football fan who whoops at the Diamond commercial. That'll shut her up, he says, and he looks at me to see if I'll laugh. I don't laugh, but I don't say anything. Nobody says it, not right then. I'm saying it now. I need you to say it with me. You know that man with his penis out on the bus? You know how I pulled his air deep into me so I could scream? I didn't scream. I whispered, cut it out. And that man continued on his journey, and the driver pulled us all across the desert, and I didn't sleep again.
From POG, Wetzel, Casa Libre, and University of Maryland.
I think I timed this to have 23 seconds to spare, so I'd like for 5 seconds for all of us to applaud to Sam Ace. Epilogue onto an idea. Up ahead out here, and his affiliate, rival in the eyes, someone near, but not our crowd, someone whom you approach in a poem only to the extent of his vantage out, to the verb open out onto. To that extent, you fit into his looking suit, to the glove points, othering, a long parenthesis of lens, a self sort of, a false kind of first feeling, to the double pocket mouth, kissed him from inside. What's yes in any S-gift contributing this, the plus of a little sentience? Have you too felt extra fleetingly? The early given is he faces the same way we, as though we sent him to this promontory. To him assign yourself and borrow charge. What part of us you are yet, and what through him and his would I, if I were you, retreating in the purview, or whom, if you want someone to look, sending looks, someone underway and expressing it, someone drawing from ceremony sensation, separating her own from others, gets lost in happening. This is their scene. Situations giving on to someone. Put out some hedge and over here. The foreground and the horizon are ideas. Consider the milieu of durance way out there now.
Lauterbach-Colby.
The bird I have never seen is back. When I tried to tell you about it later, you told me to go look at the green in the meadow. After a while, you came and stood beside me. I couldn't see you, but I smelled your shirt sleeves. You said, "Blessed are those." I watched as the field burned, the flowering buds igniting and turning the color. How did you describe it? Blessed. Behind us, the mountain ravine burns bright orange and hot, but I leave my fields, our house, behind. At the top of the hill, a patrol car signals us to stop. You have to go back, and my head whips around to find that voice again. Blessed are those. You insist on the miracle of burned earth, of the mystery of one bird on a branch, of the unveiling in its own time, not ours, but in ours it remains. Blessed are those. The bird I have never seen was all black with a white belly, small, no taller than my closed fist. He perched alone in his tree and flew from one branch tip to another, the blackened dirt, the hot rock, the fallen shrub and the charred branch. He flew and flew the spaces in between. He snapped his bill at the flames. His body is soot, my head on a pile of pillows. I wanted to tell you, but the bird's name came to me suddenly, as if in a dream. You are in a field that has been spared. Blessed are those. Blessed are those who stand still in their confusion. Blessed is the field as it burns before you told me to stand still and watch. My woods burn. So I crouched in the darkness and ran my fingers through the dirt. I rubbed charcoal bits into my soot skin and waited for the orange light to reach the ridge, to fill the space in front of me.
Okay, Cynthia Miller is up.
This is a poem for my friend Peter Warshaw. He sleeps in his clothes outside his own house with a flashlight calling owls. Who is this man? Love, walking with indelible hand.
So this is a draft of a piece from my ongoing Diana series in which the goddess Diana is a vehicle for me to explore my changing relationships with my womanhood and femininity. Alright, so Diana, 1 month. 1 month with no shot, and Diana is calling to me again. 1 month, in which the girl is unbraiding herself into me again. No shot in 1 month, and she's come flooding backwards. She is returning in loose layers, in the color of a wound and the color of a heart. 1 month, and my mood swells and inflames, hot like a busted lip, like a crisis, while elsewhere I sleep like a saint retiring. At the tops of my thighs, I am sleeping soundly, like a saint dreaming of miracles to perform. 1 month, and my voice is as thin-edged as a wafer, turning like a corner, knuckling into my neck. 1 month, and not one of Diana's arrows has pierced my skin. She is a quiet hunter. Still, there have been no sterile darts in this back alley between us two. I know to some places there is no going back, no going again, no going against. And Diana, I don't know where you go when you go. I don't know where you've been, dusky girl. You and your moon all dusted with day. Diana, realize, I might not recognize you at all. Still, I swear, you won't let me forget that you are ever impending.
Crabtree from POG, University of Nevada. And you're there.
Just a reminder that usually beautiful sounds are really terrifying. So I'm just going to read one poem so I don't have to hear it. This is from a fake manuscript from a novel I'm working on called How Not to Be Lonely. Refuse to be found. Leave your phone on silent. Leave it facing south someplace forgettable. Behind the ice cube trays or underneath the sink. Wherever you never go. And you can never be sure whether everyone or no one you've ever met is calling you to tell you that they miss or forgive or think or care for. Start to trust your phone is always filling with messages. As long as you don't speak to anyone, it could be happy. So instead of your friends or strangers or lovers, answer only the animals. Walk at night and listen. Listen for the unabashed weeping of the insects. Listen for the footfalls of the furry little animals who don't need to wow at anything, but yet call out to the moon or the stars or whatever it is that they can't see. They're calling out to the silence. Be the silence that answers. Listen.
Ensor from Casa Libre, UA, and Allie.
Everybody stop me. So this is Love Dream. Oh, just kidding. Okay. In the dream, Mary, Kate, and Ashley and I were eco-terrorists infiltrating corporate living. Someone in or around LA, there were whole towns where employees of chains would live together. The homes looked like giant restaurants and were called things like I Heart Days Inn. Every dormitory slathered with advertisements. You could tell it was like a cult, something really creepy. Either Mary Kate or Ashley was my partner, but not the one that had originally had a crush on me something like 15 years earlier. I waited in the car for the one who had grown to love me, the one who gave me the reddish hot chocolate mix I kept on my dash in a Ziploc. My phone wouldn't charge, and it was because I hadn't plugged in the other end, or the end that was plugged in had nothing to do with my phone. The one who had originally had a crush on me was breaking up with her husband in another car. All the cars were American cars. Her doors slammed. My partner was back, either Mary Kate or Ashley. I loved her in the dream, but knew it was going to be a difficult time. And it's in 2 parts. It's called Burger King Poems for C.A. Conrad. And it's dated 9/19/13. Reset. Number 1. When hot ketchup drips off a burger and onto your finger, try considering it touch. You may have to begin by closing your eyes, but ultimately, after a lot of practice, you may be able to do this wakefully. 2. Keep the fries, knowing they are fatty and bad for America. You are bad for America, too. This is a country full of bad for itself.
project and possibly great.
All right, fabric. Every seam sewn tells a story. It is the story of hands pulling fabric tight and moving folds slowly forward. These fingers threading needles, these fingers pricked by accident, these hands undulating like waves, pushing fabric through. Every pattern echoes with the mind who imagined it, where to tuck and pin, where to leave holes for buttons, where to allow extra room. The pattern was made by simplicity, on thin white paper, or it was made out of newsprint, a mother holding the black and gray paper against her children's backs. A tailor drew white highway lines with chalk where seams should be. A milliner measured the circumference of someone's head for a new fedora. Every garment holds a history, the satin baby blanket in our crib, the ruffles on cotton Easter dresses, the seersucker shorts, the pressed linen pants, the silk necktie, the itchy uniform skirt, the polyester gym shorts, the pantyhose, the first pair of jeans we bought with our own money. These garments tell us the stories of who we were, who we thought we were, who we are, who we think we are, who we are constantly in a state of becoming. Thrift store racks teem with records of intimate moments, first kisses, first Little League games, dance recitals, costume parties, first dates, too many proms to count, weddings, divorces, first steps, and last ones. During spring cleaning, we find the sweater of an old lover and sit on the bed for a moment before we inevitably hold it up to our nose. Then we see the shirt our mother gave us for Christmas one year, so thoughtful, so not our color. Or we find the shirt from the time she got it right. Either way, we miss her. Sometimes we wait until our favorite t-shirt is completely threadbare to throw it away, and even then, the act feels like a betrayal. Every morning begins with a question: what am I going to wear? We agonize about it, or we throw something on. We effectively choose, and then we clothe ourselves in our choices and go about our day.
POG and U of A?
No.
An Egyptian goddess rampages the blood-gorgeous rivers and floods the sea, and she drinks the concoction down. Also in this myth, cat is one. Gilgamesh and city-state Uruk tales do not mention felines, but domestic cats speak and wear boots in German fairy tales and Disney movies. Leslie and Josh write of their cat's well-being in their annual Christmas letter. My calico at the sliding glass door waits tense, about to speak to the birds. Dogs are more famous in space. A kitten's muffin-making and tail-flick installation art, always site-specific, tells us memory is for those who see it. Contemporary cities build more in and out space than ancient urban density, which allows for indoor high-rise replications cats manage without foreclosure concerns. The end machine dispenses simulated personal climate, psychological, wet, scientific, conspiratorial, religious, and dry product, depending on the game and size of the next world levers we pull. Children and animals play prospect and refugee. A global city plays hide and seek with glass buried pillars. I climb building outcrops because a body can ledge architecture at night. Environments camouflage like river mud Arnold Schwarzenegger smears to avoid predator. But the constant cosmic microwave radiation background bath seems no matter what material and what preposition and what given latitude or longitude, no away can be mapped. Even Facebook updates an earthquake, then a hurricane hits the East Coast. Our object petite awe manifests dish, eluding aliens, and once sunk in the ocean, and allows us to tune each other out.
Tucson and greetings on
This is for Allison Ramirez, a collaboration of
I like O's. He wants to find the word unhome for me over dinner. O's poetry reminds me that language is our identity, that a single word can expand our experience of who we are and where we are from. A single word can tell a whole story, but further. A story can be a letter, a shape, a space, an area, a space inside the letter. The more we break apart language, the more stories we find. Language and identity are infinite this way. The further we anatomize them, the more definitive they become. I have heard O referred to as that Navajo language poet. I think calling a Dene poet Navajo minimizes their language and therefore their identity. It unhomes them. But yes, you should read O's work. He put all of the white spaces into the story.
This is half of a translated poem by Bedoya. V is for vessel, for vassal, for vengeance, for vast is for vertigo, verge is for years, for venture, for voyage to novo. My instinct, my love for others, my place in the world, my hands clasping a vague sense of time and weight of sorrow, a tangible truth. I'm only joking. 25 days I divine the fine line joining my house to everything outside, grandiloquent. 25 days in reverse I muttered, this stakes like a bargain, melodrama and tragedy in a single turn of the wheels. Vanishing brother, how have you lived? It's too late for that tale. It's time for the silent film, you insist. Reading the final credits, any character would get swallowed up in that easy chair, and he has been glued to the TV, changing channels, subject to a character actor. Paste on mustache, lustreless toupee, kiss on lurid lips, wink with neon in the cigar, slow smoke on the water, my pensive one, my sly one, chopping up women on a lonely hill, my friend, my brother, watching beheadings on blurry videotape. Here's where I veer away, revert to the page.
Next up is Allie Leach from the Poetry Center.
Stop counting. So after Jane Miller read recently, someone in the audience came up to me and said, I could have heard her read from the phone book. So this is a found collage poem from the Yellow Pages. Make the right call, 7 days a week. Pamper yourself, pamper your teeth. There are easier ways to extract teeth. Recycle, recycle, recycle for the life of your trees. Stop, or you'll pay too much. Accidents happen since 1987. Your downtime is our priority. Shock, accidents happen. Going somewhere, tax tiger? Let us worry about your debt. Leaking? Treat your lawn. Reinvent yourself. Have you hugged your children today? Be a winner. Where every dog is a show dog. Are you pregnant? Let us help you provide the best life for your baby. Unplanned pregnancy? Wedding gowns available in 1 week. Professionals you can trust. We keep our appointments. Arrested? Criminal defense is all I do. Accident? Hablamos español. Bankruptcy? Call today. We can help.
All right, begin message from L. Subject. There were seats or gas on our wager through the air, the trashy clouds. Date, March 9th, 3:33:24 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, to S. I was ailing in the air, and I wagered right into the future of a gentle fight. Begin message from L. Subject. Your days are rough Now your bones won't all to sponge, my sweet pup. Date, March 12th, 9:08:32 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. 2S. Really, you are still here, my root. You are really still the rescue of me, still the soft cup of breath. Begin message from S. Subject. In trenches, finally, in the last rites, in trials, a brash statement of facts, treading in the rocks. There was a canyon, a piece of shade and overhang. There was a pile of sand just soft enough to hide. There was a canary. Date, March 23rd, 9:33:36 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, to L. In underwater underwear, in the fumes with the masks, I saw a fish. That's how I got to this creepy rift. I was down and stirred of silt. I could not find my way back. I tried the ukulele tidal sound technique. I tried the snorkel, relax, and blow technique. I tried the child pen technique, the rape, the coast technique. I got back in grief, but I got back. Frankie, Tere Rollins. She's from Casa Libre and Pima College. And she's our last reader.
As they walked towards lakes of blindness, small arguments broke out among them. Israel wasn't speaking. Rubilio, Lenore dreamt, was angry with them. He found fault with their slow progress. Despair carved a series of red lines branching from his temple to his eyes, like marks on a map. Abelard got out the glossary of fears and opened it to a new page. He wrote down what each of them told him to write. They compared these fears to their previous fears. It was true that their fears were becoming more specific and named. What began as a sharp pain behind his eyes turned into a kind of burning and darkness. Pinsel cried out. You too, Pinsel? I've just lost my sight, Lenore said. We're nearing the lakes of blindness. Yes, said Weirin, I've been blind all day. In the darkness of their own eyes, they were faced with poor translations of the world around them, and it felt like a kind of drowning. Rubilio sat alone in a room waiting. It was built of stone. It was not underground. There was a window. There were not rats or bones or slime, but all the same, he was very much alone. Will we ever get there? Asked Pinsel. We might, answered Abelard. Where is there? Said Ensor. I haven't managed things well, said Lenore. I feel bitter, Weirin said. I'm a terrible leader, Abelard said. I'm ugly and small, said Pinsel. When the map of red lines on Rubilio's temple completes, he will be entirely forgotten by the world. He will vanish even from his brother's memory.